Success in business is only 20% strategy and 80% is mindset and execution. And I'm going to show you the 9 mental saboteurs in the private mastermind training that hold you back from executing the best way possible, making use of the strategy that you do have, and make sure you're scaling the fastest and most efficient way possible, and make sure you're also not burning yourself out along the way. Check out the speech and dive right in.
For those of you who don't know me, just quickly about what I do. Basically, I offer coaching for agency and e-com owners and have worked with lots of them from the US and Europe in the past 4 years. We help them to have more time and less stress while they scale their business. Now, if you were with us in Tenerife, you probably know that we talk a lot about these 2 areas. And these are actually the main 2 areas for success as a business owner. We have on the one side the strategy, right? Everything about your offer, your processes, your business strategy, all those best practices. And then we have your execution. That's usually what I talked about a lot, right? You can have the best strategy that you learn here, but if you don't execute well, your focus, your energy, your time management, also your team, how you organize all of that, you won't get far. But guys, I have to admit something. I've been lying to you. There's not only 2 areas. There's actually a 3rd area, because it's not only about strategy and execution, it's obviously something else. And that's actually each one of you. And that's everything related to your personality, your inner self-talk, your blind spots, your mindset, your tendencies, your traits, right? And this is usually what at the end determines if you actually execute in the long term, if you're gonna get back from setbacks, and if you're gonna be successful. And to make sure that you guys get maximum value in these areas, there's usually 9 mental saboteurs that are holding people back the most from unlocking their full potential, not only for themselves, but also for their team. Now, these 9 mental saboteurs hold you back from growing your business the most efficient way possible, and also from along the way, enjoying the process, being happy about it, and not stressing out all the time. So you might be wondering, what are mental saboteurs, right? What's that? So a bunch of you guys have heard it, and let's take a look at what those are, okay? And we explain them in a second. So I have a picture here, which show the 9 most common mental saboteurs. And I'm going to show you here, we're going to go through the most important ones that a lot of us have, and then we're going to dive deep into it together, how they show up and how they might be holding us back in business, and therefore what we can do about them. Okay, so you can already see that these have certain characteristics. We're going to explain them to you guys in more detail. But the first thing I want to say is that these are basically from a guy called Shirzad Chamine. He wrote a really good book about this. It's called Positive Intelligence, and it's called the PQ framework. You all of you guys know like the intelligence quotient, right? IQ. And he calls it PQ, which is positive intelligence, which is the score. How often is your mind working in your favor versus sabotaging you, right? How often is it sending you annoying thoughts that really holding you back in the moment? And how often is it sending you positive thoughts, right, that are bringing you forward? And really important is these saboteurs, it's not you are a saboteur, but you have little voices or little tendencies in your head that basically hold you back. And very important here is we all have some of them. I have saboteurs. I will show you the ones I have a lot. And each one of you has some of them. And it's important to know in varying degrees, right? It's not like you have this always and 100%. No, like maybe it is a bit more. That's my main saboteur, and this is the most tendency that I have, and so on, okay? Once you get the awareness which saboteurs you have the most, you can then start to pay attention to that and label them more, and then work on them, and then therefore make progress on them. Fantastic and super important. So now let's get actionable here. Let's dive into some of the most common saboteurs, and I want all of you to pay attention Maybe you recognize yourself in some of them and are like, oh, yeah, that's me sometimes. Or you know someone in your team or in your family, who are a bit like this, and then, got it. So that's how they kind of think. Now, let's go into it. The first common saboteur that we see a lot, I myself have that sometimes as well, so totally honest here, is stickler. And this is, you can already see, you have this guy, you cuts the little grass here. Everything has to be super perfect. And this is like when you take perfectionism and need for order and organization too far, right? When everything has to be totally organized to a perfect degree. Now let's go into it. What does it mean? What are the characteristics? So super punctual perfectionist can be sarcastic, opinionated, highly critical of himself and of other people, works overtime to make up for other people's sloppiness and laziness, and is highly sensitive to criticism, right? This is kind of the tendency that shows up when you have this saboteur. What are the thoughts that someone has, or the thoughts that pop up if you have this tendency? Right is right, wrong is wrong. I know the right way. If you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all, right? This all or nothing thinking. Either I do it right, someone's laughing here already, right? You resonate already a bit. And, others just have low standards. They can't do it the right way, right? So it really annoys you if someone can't do it properly. That's a sign of like maybe a bit too much of a stickler here. And you hate mistakes. Who of you guys hates mistakes? A lot of you guys, right? Okay. So that's a sign of this, right? And then what are the feelings that this causes you? You're constantly frustrated and disappointed with yourself and others if you're not living up to these ideal standards that you have. And then you're anxious that others will mess up the order and the balance that you created. So that's usually when you make great structures in your business documentation and others screw it up completely and it freaks you out. And then this, of course, can cause anger, frustration, and it doesn't feel good. What do you think? If you have this tendency, and I'm not saying that you always have this 100%, but maybe sometimes a little bit, okay? And if this is holding you back, how could this be holding us back in business if you have a stickler saboteur? Let's collect some ideas, guys. Yeah, to summarize, I said the same thing here: too much time planning, researching, overanalyzing, also not taking decisions quickly, overthinking, right? Not delegating. This is how it could hold you back. So think about this as we were presenting this. Do you have sometimes this tendency? Maybe is that holding you back? At the end, we talk about how we can work on this. Or maybe do you have someone in your team, or maybe a freelancer or someone, and how could that be holding your business back, right? So think about this. Now, let's go into the next one, which is the restless. As you can see already, this person here juggling a million things, doing so many things. And this is basically restless, constantly in search of greater excitement in the next activity, or constant busyness. Okay, let's dive a little bit deeper into what that means. So characteristics are easily distracted and gets scattered, stays busy juggling many different tasks and plans at one time, then seeks excitement and variety and not comfort or safety. So always a new thing, always have to do something else. If an emotion comes up, let's say you do a task and it becomes challenging, becomes hard, then let's bounce to the next thing. Let's start something else. Okay, it's a little bit shiny object, right? Let's do some other thing. I have to do always new things. And then basically constantly seeking new stimulation, new things to do. And what are the feelings, the thoughts behind that? This isn't fulfilling. It has to be more exciting. These negative feelings suck, when it gets difficult. I must shift my attention to something exciting. Why can't anyone keep up with me, right? I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And what are the feelings behind this? That impatient with what is happening now, fear of missing out on other worthwhile experiences, right? Let's say you commit to one project. It's exciting at the beginning, nice. But then it gets difficult and you're like, oh, let me do the other thing. And you start something else. So that's like restlessness. And you want more options. And you're worried that these unpleasant feelings become too much and let's go to the exciting things again. So same thing here. Think about this now. How could this be holding you back? Do you know someone that could be like this? someone who's very excitable about things, but doesn't really finish things. Shiny object syndrome, always jumping to the next thing, not finishing it, and then giving up when things get too tough, and then not seeing results. The money is not coming in because you get excited by too many things. Okay, so pay attention to that one as well. Now we have a couple more. Let's go through them and let's see if you are seeing that. This is hypervigilant. This is if you're continuous and intense anxiety about all the dangers and what could go wrong, right? So let's go quickly through that here. Always anxious, always doubting yourself or others, always sensitive, what can go wrong, danger signals, danger, you're expecting danger, and you're maybe even suspicious about what others are up to, right? Always sensing like, this always could go wrong. And what are the thoughts behind this? If I make a mistake, everyone is gonna jump on my throat. Or I wanna trust people, but I'm not sure what they're up to. Or I need to know what the rules are, but I might not always follow them. And the feelings here is skeptical, even cynical, and often anxious and vigilant. Right? Always afraid of risks, always paying attention a lot. Yeah, that's the most important thing here is you're not taking enough risks. Because entrepreneurship itself, as you said, you're not even starting things. You have to try things, and you're not taking any risks then if you're always afraid what could go wrong. And you're not even trusting employees or partners because you're afraid what they are up to, if they do things wrong. And you're too careful, very slow, wasting time, and it's very energy draining as well. Now we get into really interesting ones. There's only two left, two of the main ones I want to show you. And I really like this one because, I like it, but a lot of our clients are like this. And it's basically the hyperachiever, as you can see already, that you're dependent on performance and achievement for self-respect and for self-validation. So you're highly focused on external success, leading to unsustainable workaholic tendencies. Okay, so what does that mean? That is basically super competitive, image and status conscious, good at covering up your own insecurities, always showing a positive image, always showing you're winning, always great. And you adapt yourself to what be most impressive to others, and very goal-oriented and self-promoting. And what are the thoughts? I must be the best at what I do. Right? If I can't be outstanding, I won't bother. Or I must be efficient, effective. Emotions get in the way of performance. Don't need emotions, right? Just performance. And focus on thinking and action, not feeling. Feeling, we don't need feeling. Just thinking, rational action, let's do it. And this is a big one here. The subconscious thought is that you are worthy as long as you are successful and others think well of you. Only then are you worthy. You're only worthy if you get stuff done. You're only worthy if you achieve things. And this is, what are the feelings? Actually, this hyperachiever doesn't like to be in emotions too long. Focus on rational and on thinking. They distract me from achieving my goals. Sometimes I feel empty and depressed inside, but I don't want to go there. Let's just chase some more goals. And it's important to me to feel successful. That's what it's all about. Because I feel worthy mostly when I'm successful. That's the voice of the hyperachiever in you. Now, if you think about this, do you know someone in your field who is like this, or do you have sometimes these tendencies yourself? Think about this. This is your hyperachiever speaking, and let's brainstorm again together. How do you guys think it could be holding us back in business if we have this tendency? Wow, yeah, that's the only way you get love. You're chasing something that may be someone else's idea. Yeah, super nice stuff, guys. So it's basically similar what you said, focusing only on work, neglecting health or relationships, reaching goals, but never truly be able to enjoy them and be happy, and burnout, as you guys said. Now, let's go into the last one here. And that's also very interesting, is pleaser tendency. That's when you indirectly try to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, or flattering others. And then you lose signs of your own needs along the way and become resentful as a result. Now, what are the characteristics here? You always want to be liked by people and attempt to earn it by helping them out and like pleasing them and like, I do everything for you, just like me, I do everything for you. And then they always need this reassurance, or the saboteur needs this reassurance that by others that you are liked, that you are basically good, that you basically, that they feel approved. problem here is that you can't express your own needs openly and directly when you have this tendency too much, and therefore you do so indirectly and have people feel obliged to return a favor to you, okay? So what are the thoughts behind this? That to be a good person, other people's needs need to be put first before of my own. And it bothers me when other people don't notice or care about what I've done for them. They can be selfish, ungrateful, I give away too much, I don't think of myself enough. I can make anyone like me, okay? What are the feelings behind that? That expressing my own needs is selfish. It may drive others away if I show my own needs, and it can be, I might be taken for granted, but I hate that. And that's why I can't express what I feel. So think about this quick summary here, so we can finish it up with some action steps. What do you guys think? Fantastic. We see this a lot, right? You're always available, no boundaries, people can always reach you. And then obviously, right, you just work too much. So that's the summary: working overtime, trying to make everybody happy, no boundaries, always available, too many meetings, not progressing on tasks, and burnout again. So as you can see, guys, these were some of the 9 saboteurs, some of the most common ones. There are a couple of more. And what are the key takeaways here? You have to understand, first of all, you are not a saboteur, but you have a saboteur because they are just protection mechanisms that were formed usually during childhood when growing up. You know, this whole topic of, you know, feeling worthy through achievement, proving to others you're good enough, proving to your parents, all of these things, all protection mechanisms. So it's nothing wrong with you, it's just something your brain did when growing up, right? That's first important to realize. And they keep telling you these lies. They tell you, the hyperachiever tells you, you need me because without me you're not gonna do anything. You will be lazy and nobody will like you anymore. Right? Or the pleaser will tell you, you need to make others like you, otherwise nobody will like you anymore, and then you will be alone and die alone. Like basically these justification lies that you need them. But you actually don't, because they are too extreme. Of course it's good to help other people. Of course it's good to have goals and go for them, but not in that extreme sense. And that's why you have to quieten these voices, these tendencies down. Now, how to reduce the saboteurs? There's 3 main areas: mental self-command training, self-awareness training, and reframing. To finish this up, let's go into each one of them just quickly. We have mental self-command training. That is, you need to start to label and catch these saboteurs. Time is out, so I'm finishing it up. If you can just give me a minute or so. Label the saboteurs in the moment. The first thing is, first of all, become aware what saboteurs do you have. I've showed you a few. Realize which one are the most common ones. And then make it a habit to label the ones when you recognize them. So let's say at the end of the day, let's jump to the next one already so you understand what I mean here. What I recommend you is make a daily journaling habit out of this. At the end of the day, when you write in a journal or you write in a spreadsheet where you track your habits or something, you ask yourself, in what situation did I get hijacked by my pleaser today? Right? You write it down, and then how would I behave differently tomorrow? That way you're training yourself that, oh, this person said something, did I say yes again? Why did I answer again this email at 9 p.m., right? And so you need to build this awareness so that in the future when this happens, oh, there he is again, the pleaser, right? You catch yourself in that moment, and then you learn this habit of saying, okay, how would I react in a different way? And that's basically what the reframing is all about. You can see Master Yoda here. Why? Because it's the sage, it's the wisdom perspective. All of us have a protection mechanism in our head, but we also have a wisdom perspective. You guys were all super smart right now. You said many cool things, so you know reality, what the balance would be. But it's about training that sage perspective. So when a situation happens, what can I learn from this? If there's a setback, what is the best thing that can ever happen to me, right? Or why is it the best thing? So you journal on these questions and therefore basically learn how I would behave in the next day. And then step by step you're training to reduce these voices and replace them with more positive responses instead. Okay, so how can this be as a gift? So to summarize, awareness is the first step. Do the assessment. I'll show you in a second. There's a link if you're interested in this. as with everything, work on it consistently to make progress. So think about the saboteurs that you have and then journal on them and make progress. If you want more on this, it's just a link to my WhatsApp. So there's no sign up or anything, just my WhatsApp. If you want the assessment, how you can figure out what saboteurs you have, just write me an assessment or something. Then I can send you the access to this assessment and then you can do this assessment for yourself. Okay? That's it. Or send me a message or ask me later. And that's it.